We're going to San Francisco. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Input English. This is a road trip. It's actually a railroad trip. So we're going to San Francisco today on a little adventure. I have a couple of things to do there. I'd like to take you on the journey along with me. We're going to the Embarcadero station, which is the first station in San Francisco. We're currently in the parking garage in North San Jose. And so behind me, you can see the BART station, BART Bay Area Transport, and that's a high-speed train system that connects the cities of the Bay Area. It's a pretty fabulous system. So we're going to ride the BART. It's going to go through many of these towns in the Bay Area from this South Bay location. We're going to go under the San Francisco Bay, and we're going to come up about an hour later in San Francisco at the Embarcadero station. From there, we're going to walk along the Embarcadero, and you get to see some sights there. And then we're going to go up the Filbert Steps. This is a special place in San Francisco. It's a bunch of stairs that lead you up onto the top of a hill to Coit Tower. So that's my plan. So I wanted to introduce this. You can see we're in the South Bay. I'm going to pan around so you can see the view. We're about 7 stories up, so you can see what it's like around this area. Okay, we're now walking to the BART station. We've come down the elevator, and now this is a sidewalk. There are no cars around here. This is a pedestrian-only area. It's a short walk, perhaps 100 yards. And it's a beautiful day, blue skies, puffy white clouds, a very light breeze. It's about, I don't know, 20 degrees Celsius. It's a cool, beautiful day. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. It's surprisingly quiet here. You know, this is a busy transit station, theoretically, but I don't see a lot of people, and I don't see a lot of cars in the parking lot. So I'm just a little puzzled. The parking garage, I went up to the top level because I wanted some light and I wanted to see. And so I went up there, and literally I was the only car there. There was a security detail, keeping an eye on the place, which I value. I think that's great that the cars aren't going to get broken into. But there weren't any other cars up there on the top level. So I'm going to go into the station. I need to add a little bit of money to my fare card. The fare cards for the BART are called Clipper cards, and they're electronic. And so what you do is put them in a machine and add money like dollar bills, or you could use a credit card and add value. So I'm going to use this machine here to add value to my Clipper card. So you can see it behind me. There's a machine. One of them says you can buy a Clipper card, but this one says that you can add value to a Clipper card. A little different feature there. So I'm going to use this machine and add some value, and then we're going to go into the BART station. So we'll see in a minute. Okay, we are up on the platform waiting for the train to come in. So you can see there behind me is the platform. As I pivot around here, you can see the platform. Now you're looking in the direction toward San Francisco. This is the end of the line, the southernmost station currently in the BART system. So if I step over here, you can see the map. So this is the map of the BART system, and we're going to take the green line to San Francisco and get off at the Embarcadero station. So that will be the first station in San Francisco after we go under the bay. So now we probably have about a 20-minute wait. Well, let me rephrase that. I have a 20-minute wait, and I'm going to turn the camera off, of course, and we'll wait for the train to show up and get on board. Going to San Francisco, well, lots of people go to San Francisco. How can you go to San Francisco? Any number of ways. The first time I came to San Francisco, I did so on a jetliner, and we flew into San Francisco International Airport. That's a great way to go to San Francisco. Alternatively, you could take the train, sure. Bus lines go to San Francisco. Cruise ships go to San Francisco. Literally, I watched a beautiful cruise ship come under the Golden Gate to go into San Francisco and let its passengers off. So, lots of ways to go to San Francisco. I suppose bicycling would be an option, but considering the traffic and the difficulties, I wouldn't embrace that myself. Some people might. So if you drive to San Francisco, the problem you're taking on is the parking. The parking here in San Jose is $3 for the day, but the parking in San Francisco could be $50 or $60 a day, and it can be a little hard to find. So I like the idea of avoiding the parking problem. This train system has a cost associated with it, but they do have some discounts, and for people of a certain age, the discount is pretty nice. So I added some value to my Clipper card. You do that electronically with a credit card or with cash, and then the Clipper card is read electronically by a little touch pad. You just touch it to the electronic sensor, and it communicates with the computer and charges you for this trip. The computer keeps track of where you got on and where you got off, and the cost is based on distance. One person going to San Francisco, you have to think about using the BART system. It's very cost effective. Now, there are circumstances where you would not want to take public transit. Let's say you were taking something with you that was fragile, or let's say you had 4 other people with you. Then it might make sense to drive in and put up with a parking expense. Sure. There are a lot of things you can't take on BART, and so you would choose to drive. Some places in San Francisco are hard to get to using the BART system and other public transit. So today, what we're doing, BART makes sense. Other days, we're going to drive. So we are now waiting for our train to come in. According to the announcement,
310 Airport, San Francisco Daily City train now approaching platform 1.
This is our train. How exciting!
Daily City train now boarding platform 1.
So, we are in the train.
The doors are closing. Please stand clear of the doors.
Wow, we're getting ready to take off. So here is the map in the train. You can see it's an electronic map, and we're here. and we're going to go up the East Bay, and then you can see we're going to go under the bay, and this is the Embarcadero station. From here to here is about an hour. These trains can be very busy. It can be completely full with people standing, holding on to these handholds. Yeah, I've been on this system when it was that busy. It's super quiet today. I don't know why. It's just super quiet. As we get closer into the city, the train cars will fill up more. As you get up into the north side of the East Bay, up toward Oakland, you get a lot of ridership up there. So we are now on our way. This is the train leaving San Jose, heading up the track to San Francisco. So now we are in San Francisco. I just came out of the BART station and walked maybe 3 blocks down Market Street, and now you can see the ferry building behind me. So this is the scene at Market Street and the Embarcadero, and that big tall thing is the ferry building. So we're going to go over to the ferry building, and I'm going to go around behind the ferry building and show you the bay from that vantage point, and then we'll take a hike up the Embarcadero to Filbert Street. So our next stop is Filbert. This is what it's like inside the ferry building. I'm just walking along inside the ferry building. It's pretty brightly lit. There are a lot of shops, there are a lot of people. It's very popular among tourist visitors, and it's pretty charming. So this is the scene inside the ferry building. So now we are behind the ferry building. Right in front of you there's an island, that is Yerba Buena Island. And then to the right of the island you can see the Oakland Bay Bridge. So that is one section, and then there's another section on the other side of the Yerba Buena Island. To the left of Yerba Buena Island, there is another island, and that's Treasure Island. That's a man-made island that was used by the Navy during World War II, and then has more recently been turned over to the city. Those hills that you see beyond the Bay Bridge are the Oakland Hills. So this is the scene behind the ferry building. A lot of people. There's some restaurants. It's a pretty nice place. So this is the Embarcadero. This is the street that goes along the bay. Lots of people, lots of visitors come here. These warehouse buildings that stick out into the bay are called piers, and they are indeed warehouses. It's a very pleasant walk. It's a nice day. It's 65 degrees Fahrenheit here, so that's 18 degrees Celsius. A very pleasant day. It's even nicer in the sunshine. Very pleasant when the sun is shining on you, warming you a bit. Not much wind. You can see the flag is moving, but not severely so. So now we're up to Pier 1 1/2. So San Francisco is famous for its cable cars, and that's an opportunity to create some confusion. Because yes, San Francisco has cable cars, but they also have streetcars or trolleys. And so you're looking at a vintage streetcar or trolley car. They're electric and they go on rails. These cars were brought here from various places around the country and around the world. I think from the sign that was an original San Francisco trolley car. Here you can see the Transamerica building, which is a very characteristic thing that you see when you see a skyline view of San Francisco, that unusual shape. So this is a pier that people can walk out. There are benches to sit. A lot of people fish from this pier. Now that calls into question whether you really want to eat fish out of San Francisco Bay. I would not, but there are people who do that. Here's a riverboat, and this is a cruise ship that goes out into the bay, presumably in the evenings or on weekends. I don't see much activity on it right now, but it's for entertainment, it's for visitors, it's for eating and drinking and having a lovely time in San Francisco. There are two boats over there that you can see that have orange and white coloration. They have tires around them. And on the side, the letters pilot. And so those are pilot boats. And so when a large ship comes into San Francisco Bay, the captain of that ship may not be well prepared to navigate the treacherous waters of the San Francisco Bay. So local pilots come on board the ship and guide the ship into its final location. So those are pilot boats to take the local pilots out to ships that are coming in from far away. Now you can see Treasure Island. It's a very low island. We're going to show you Treasure Island on another video, but public transit doesn't really go easily to Treasure Island, so that's going to be a car trip. So look for our visit to Treasure Island on another video. That video is on our production schedule, and as of this moment, it has not been made. So now we're arriving at the Exploratorium. This is an educational facility on two of the piers. As you see, piers 15 and 17 are the Exploratorium. It's a fabulous place to come visit, particularly with kids. It's educational, and you can see from its name, Exploratorium, it puts emphasis on exploring interesting new things, exploring new ideas, and seeing things from an educational point of view, but with a sense of excitement and enthusiasm. You can see, looking to the left, we're getting closer to our destination. Up on the hill, we'll be up there shortly. The walk from the ferry building along the Embarcadero to get actually up to Coit Tower can be done in fewer than 30 minutes. However, if I stop and talk and show you things, that's going to slow my progress. So it'll be a little slower. This is the area between the two piers that house the Exploratorium. A lot of people here, a lot of visitors. Busy day today. It's just great. You can see people on segways. This is a tour. This is people, visitors who come here, and they rent the Segway, and they get a briefing on how to do it, and then they take the Segway on a rolling tour of San Francisco. This is Levy's Plaza. It's a small park. Very pleasant. Trees, flowering shrubs, little waterfall coming into view behind me. And this is what you see on the way from the Embarcadero up to the Filbert Steps. The Filbert Steps are the way you get up to Coit Tower on foot. Brings up a fun story. So I was familiar with San Francisco, having been here many times. We were here for a meeting years ago, and a friend of mine, professional colleague from elsewhere, was here for the first time. And she said, what should we do? What can you show me about the city that would be interesting and fun? I said, let's go to Coit Tower. She had no idea the distances that we were going to walk, the number of steps that we were going to climb, and nor the fabulous view we were about to get. So this was a really fun place to bring a visitor for the first time. So you can see the sign there reads stairs to Coit Tower. And then as I step over here, you can see these stairs. So these are called the Filbert Steps, and they go up to Coit Tower. From this vantage point, you really can't see the tower, but you're going to see it soon. I'm letting a group of student visitors go further along. They look like they're having a great time, but they're a bit noisy, and I'm going to let them get further up on their climb of these steps. So now you can see the steps. The school children have continued along their way, so things are getting pretty quiet now. We'll climb those steps straight away. So I am now 10 steps to the good.
I know.
It's much more quiet now. We're making the climb on the Filbert Steps. This is fun. So this is our first landing. So you can see we're behind a building. You've got a cliff, very steep, rocky cliff covered in vegetation. A lot of insects. I'm seeing a lot of bees, and there were some butterflies a moment ago. For some people, it might be quite strenuous, but not too bad at all. And of course, like most things, you're wise to pace yourself. You know, what's your hurry? So this section of the Filbert Steps is made of wood. These are wooden stairs. We're between the houses, between the apartment buildings. A lot of vegetation, a lot of garden features that are tended by the local folks. Quite a pleasant place here in downtown San Francisco, climbing the Filbert Steps. This is fun. They put up a street sign, but there's no street. There's just a walking path. I don't know if that's a real street sign or For what? The further we go, the denser the vegetation goes, and the more scenic it becomes. This is really quite charming. Something I didn't expect was a fire hydrant. Of course, you would want fire hydrants close by. Current term for this is a fire hydrant. Old term is a fire plug. Kind of a casual term for it, fire plug. So this tree in front of you, the tall one, the big one, is a coastal redwood. There's another one to the left. There's a bay. Looks like a bay tree between the two. So we have finished the steps per se. And there's our destination, Coit Tower. That said, there are additional steps needed to get to it. But, like so many things, it's starting to get clear that this effort is going to be worth it. Because the view from up here will be splendid. So here is Coit Tower from the base. What fun, we made it. So we climbed the steps and the elevator here is broken, so we're climbing more steps. 234 steps. And up we go. So we made it. This is the top of Coit Tower. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge. To the right, the hills are the Marin Headlands. If you go under that bridge and keep going, you're in the Pacific Ocean. There's a small marina here. There's a bigger marina to the left. We're going to show you that on a different video when we go to Fort Mason. So here you can see the ferry building. That is that tower between here and the bridge. That bridge is the Bay Bridge. You can see ferries coming and going into that terminal. Remember that the ferry building is indeed a ferry terminal. This is your view of Yerba Buena Island, then to the left, Treasure Island, and then in the background, Oakland and Oakland Hills. To the left, you can see a ferry moving. So now we're finished with Coit Tower. We're walking down Greenwich, heading to Columbus and Washington Square and points to the west. Okay, we are now in North Beach. You're looking down Columbus in North Beach, and over here is Washington Square. So now we're on Stockton. We've just left North Beach, and you can see we're seeing some evidence of Chinatown. Taking the walk down Stockton to California. Go to my destination. Here's a local grocery market. Lots of vegetables and fruit. So we have a few more blocks before we can turn on California. So now, without any question, we are in San Francisco's Chinatown. It's been probably 30 years since I've been here. Pretty charming. So now we're on Fillmore. This is one of my favorite areas. A lot of shops, very laid back, fun place. Again, I haven't been here in a long time, but I do like this area. It's a charming place in San Francisco. It doesn't have a city vibe. It's not high rises and big city. It's more small town in its vibe. Fillmore. And I'm almost at my destination. I'm going to an optician shop to look at some glasses, because these things are necessary, you know. Time passes, your prescription changes, you get an eye exam, and it's time to maybe get some new glasses. So that's why this portion of the trip, I'm going to the optician. This is an epilogue. An epilogue contains the remarks, comments, clarifications, additional information that come at the end of a work, including perhaps a play or a book, any sort of literary work. So this is an epilogue to our trip to San Francisco and the top of Coit Tower. If you watch a movie, you might see an epilogue in a movie that would take the form of reporting to you how the characters are doing after the events of the movie, or how the characters are doing in the present time. Our trip to Coit Tower had a couple of surprises for me, and these I report. One, first surprise, I forgot to bring water. Now that had consequences because I got a little dry, and that has effects on one's voice. You might have noticed as we got to the top of the Filbert steps that my voice was starting to crack. That was regrettable. There was no place to buy water at Coit Tower. So when we got down to Columbus, I bought a bottle of water. Better planning is always a good idea. The next thing I noticed is that I need to be flexible in dealing with other people. Yes, I can be committed to making these videos and bringing you good content, but I still have to be a good citizen. So at the top of Coit Tower, I needed to be respectful of the others. The area was relatively small and it got kind of crowded. When we first got up there, I took some pictures through all the windows and then set about making the video clips with some narration. As it got busier and busier, the north window of Coit Tower got very popular among the other visitors. And I was in no position to elbow people out of the way so I could make a video clip looking north. Well, the north vantage point is the one that shows Alcatraz Island. So I have a nice still picture of that. What you see in the picture is an island with a bunch of buildings on it. That's Alcatraz and the decommissioned federal prison that is on that island. And then behind Alcatraz Island is another island that's much bigger and has a much taller hill, and that is Angel Island. So in future videos, look for a video with our trip to Alcatraz Island. We're taking you there. Also, another video on our trip to Angel Island. Now, Angel Island is not small. It's quite large. And you can't have a car there. You can go on a ferry boat, and now you're on foot, and you have a couple of choices. You can walk, you can rent a bicycle, or you can bring a bicycle. So I'm choosing to bring a bicycle. My bicycle has been stored in the garage for a number of years, many of those years related to the pandemic. The tires and tubes on that bicycle are more than 15 years old. So in anticipation of our trip to Angel Island, I'm changing the tires and tubes on that bicycle so that I have a reliable mode of transportation. The other thing that I noticed is the need for flexibility in another way. The number of steps to get to the base of Coit Tower up the Filbert steps is 445. That's a lot of steps. But I had planned on taking the elevator to the top of Coit Tower. I knew there was an elevator. What I didn't know is that elevator was out of service. So, in order to go to the top, there is but one choice, 234 steps. So, up we went. People need to be flexible. And I had to be flexible once I got to Coit Tower and realized the elevator was out of service. I hope that you enjoyed this video. We strive to make content that is interesting so that as you are acquiring your English language skills through comprehensible input, you're doing so with stories and adventures that are interesting and compelling. If you have any thoughts or concerns, leave them in the comments below. And of course, we encourage people to like and subscribe. We want to grow this channel. So that's it for this episode. We hope to see you in future videos. Bye.